Please welcome to the stage Bauer.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to welcome you here to sunny Inverness for the National Speechmaking Final. The last time that the National Speechmaking Final was held in the North was back in 2022, so as a North team, it's a great feeling to be back on home turf. Our two speakers today have been challenged with preparing a speech each and following up with a further debate. Our topic today is mental health is the biggest challenge facing Scottish farming. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there's a very fitting topic in this day and age, with there been so many ongoing problems facing Scottish farming, and with there being so many mental health campaigns out there on the go too. But let me introduce you to our panel for today. On my immediate right is our proposer, Mr. William Campbell.
Good morning.
William is a current Caithness chairman, a past Bauer chairman, and current North vice. He's an agricultural mechanic in W&A Garris's. Star baker for Bauer at Country Cooks, mind you. He's an avid young farmer who claims that he does nothing else but think about speech making. On my immediate left is our opposer for today, Miss Beth Douglas.
Good morning.
Beth studied agriculture in Craveston, a well-travelled woman, having worked in New Zealand over a winter and travelling to India through the young farmers. She's a former club secretary of 3 years. She claims to be retired from Young Farmers, but as you can see, we haven't gotten rid of her yet. And on my far left is our arbiter for this morning even, Miss Adele Swanson.
Good morning.
Adele is our current club secretary at Bauer. She also studied agriculture at Craveston University. She's a qualified agricultural consultant for Gow Agriculture. She keeps all Caithness farmers right with what nutrients to put back in the ground. She studied at Oakridge. She says she spent 2 years studying, but the only thing she learned was how to binge drink. But enough about us. I'll now hand over to our proposer, Mr. William Campbell, for his opening speech.
Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, I truly believe that mental health is the biggest challenge facing Scottish farming. There are so many challenges facing Scottish farming, but they all add up to one thing: wait on yours truly, the Scottish farmer. These great men and women put food on our tables day and night, working tirelessly. They miss so much, they sacrifice so much to put food on our tables. And for this, I am eternally grateful. But with all these stockmanship skills, they miss out on number one: they don't look after themselves. They don't look after their mental health. I believe the biggest challenge facing Scottish farming is mental health, and I would like to expand on 3 points. The first one being never getting away from the farm. Suicide is on the rise in farming. It's an unfortunate likeliness of what happens on farms. They're missing their families, they're working day and night, they're putting themselves under so much pressure. They're never getting off the farm, which I think is one of the biggest issues as well, around leading to mental health. They spend so much time looking after stock, looking after crops. They don't go and do things for themselves, spending time with families, going to plays, or just going away and watching the rugby. In Caithness, we've had a thing the last couple of years, the Come Ashore Cup, and every farmer that goes to it says it's been such a boon for his mental health, just to get away and forget about everything for one day. My second point is income. Income is not predictable on a farm. You don't know what the price is going to be when you put the crop in the ground. You don't know what the price is going to be when you pull a calf onto the ground. And you can never seem to get out the bit. You can't plan ahead because you don't know what the price is going to be. And it is an issue, but it just piles on top of the weight on their heads. And the final point I'd like to bring up is history. So many people forget about this. but there's so many family farms in Scotland that have been in them for 150, 200 years, and you're trying to live up to your parents, you're trying to live up to the previous generations of men and women that have ran that farm from day dot. And it's such a heavy weight to carry. And a lot of times, farmers feel like there's no way out, and the only way out is unfortunate. And they just sometimes, I think they feel forced into it. Like they didn't have a choice because their parents did it. And for these reasons, I truly believe that mental health is the biggest challenge facing Scottish farming.
Thank you very much, William. Some very interesting points put across there. We'll now hand over to our opposer, Miss Beth Douglas, for her opening speech.
Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, William raises some valid points on an incredibly serious topic, but I have to disagree with him. Mental health is a problem within the farming industry, but I do not believe that it's currently the biggest problem facing Scottish farmers. Just look at our government. I'm sure we all agree that things are not in favour of farmers at the moment. They are creating more challenges for farmers every day, cutting subsidies, introducing ridiculous rules and regulations, and creating tougher environments. This is a problem out with the control of farmers and something that there isn't much support for. The inheritance tax, for example. This is single-handedly the biggest problem facing our industry. Families will be changed forever and many farms will be lost. You cannot sit and tell me that this is not the most important topic in affecting Scottish farming. Along with this, I believe one of the biggest problems is also public perception. We've got the BBC spreading misinformation, vegan activists slandering farmers, and a general lack of understanding and support for our farmers. And this is the biggest problem at the moment. There is lots of support in place for mental health in farming. We've got the likes of RSABI and SAYFC's very own Are You OK campaign. There is a lot of support for mental health, and I do believe it's a problem, but these support services are being used, but there's not support for what really matters. And if we don't get that support, we will lose farms because of the government, and that is the most pressing issue at the moment. I'd be a very brave woman to stand in front of you today and say that mental health is not an issue within the farming industry. But I do feel as though it's other pressing factors that are making these mental health problems more of an issue. So, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, I think we can all agree that it is a problem, but it is not currently the biggest problem facing the Scottish farming industry.
Thank you very much, Beth. Some very thought-provoking words there. We'll now hand back over to Mr. William Campbell for his reply to Beth.
Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to pick up on some of the points Beth raised and how they all actually link back to mental health. Do you not think that a farmer getting a subsidy cut is not going to affect his mental health? All these subjects she has raised about subsidy and the government, it all links straight back to mental health. It is the one factor in farming that has linked everyone together, and it's the one factor in farming that cannot be replaced is the people on the ground. She mentioned RSABI and Are You OK? These services are seeing record uptake and people using them, and that is a great thing. As much as it's not good to have people worried about their mental health, it's good that they are willing to talk about it and they're not scared, because all of the farmers I know would be terrified to actually admit, I've got something wrong, I cannot do this. I am very conscious in my job when I go down a farm road as a mechanic that I might be the only person that farmer sees that week, and it is worth my time just to spend 10-15 minutes, speak to them, how are you getting on, how's it going, how are you getting on with your calving, and 9 times out of 10 the farmers are so happy just to have someone to speak to. This does a great service to their mental health, and I honestly believe they all could do with it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, William, for your excellent reply there. It's now time for a debate section. I would like to ask both speakers to remain seated throughout, and I would like to open the debate by asking, what is a harder fix? Is it a labour shortage or the mental health issue? We'll start with William first.
Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, I do not believe there's an easy fix for either of these topics. You have to remember that mental health isn't just in the farm owners, it's in the farm workers too. It gets everyone down, losing a calf, losing sheep, something happening, crops going down. It just really affects everyone. There's no easy fix for either of these issues, but mental health is something that we can work on, so why not do it now? We make it our challenge and get on with it.
Beth, same question to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, we can't sit here and say that mental health is not a problem. But again, as our chairman here mentioned, we have the labour shortages. All of these problems is what is causing the mental health issues. I would just like to say to William, do you not think that, for example, the inheritance tax being one of the main problems, do you not think that without these issues, there would be less mental health problems in the first place?
William?
Yes, Beth, I truly do believe that with these issues gone, there would be less mental health issues. But there's always going to be something else. There's always something else coming up. Whether it be government cutting subsidy, having a bad year, or just not knowing what to do. It's so hard to put yourself in that shoes and be that person and realise that all the weight lands on your shoulders. I would also like to ask Beth, how would you go about sorting the mental health crisis in farming? Like, you can say sort all these issues in a one-hour and it's going to go away. It simply isn't.
Beth?
Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, I think RSABI are doing a wonderful job of supporting mental health in farmers. These charities have become vital, and that I will not argue. But I do still believe that there are more pressing factors that are affecting the mental health issues in farming. I myself come from a family croft, and my dad is very old-fashioned and previously would never leave the farm. But perceptions are changing. More people are realising the importance of getting off of the farm and doing that little bit to support your mental health. My dad loves a day out at the rugby now. He previously wouldn't have done that, but because there's a change in attitude, more and more people are starting to get on board with this. William did mention in his speech about generational farming, so I would like to touch on that again. He talked about farms that have been in families for 150 years. Again, I'm going to come back to it because it is the most pressing issue, but the inheritance tax is going to destroy these generational farms. So you can't sit here and tell me that the inheritance tax is not the biggest problem currently facing our industry.
Thank you very much to our two speakers for that excellent debate there. Unfortunately, that is all the time that we have for the debate. I would now like to hand over to our arbiter, Ms Adele Swanson, for her summary of how the debate and the speeches went.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we've had two very passionate speakers on is mental health the biggest challenge in Scottish farming. They clearly have some very contrasting points of view. Ladies and gentlemen, our proposer today, William, opened his remarks by stating that he believes mental health is the biggest challenge in farming. William told us that all the pressures on farms puts farmers' mental health on the backbone. He followed this by adding that the workload and hours catches up and leaves little time for off the farm, as well as income and the legacy pressures. Our proposer today, Beth, opened her remarks in stating that she believes mental health is a problem within the industry. Beth tells us that the government and inheritance tax is the biggest problem within the industry. Beth also believes that public perception is a massive issue too. She stated that the support for mental health is in place, such as our very own Are You OK campaign. William replied by telling us that it all relates back to mental health on farmers within the industry. Ladies and gentlemen, this was followed up by a lively debate opened up by our chair, asking if the labour shortages or the mental health either is an easy fix. William replied with that we can all work together to help farmers through. Beth replied that the government's situation regarding farming is a pressure on the farmers. William asked how mental health issues should be sorted, where she replied that charities are there to be used and to support everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, we've had an interesting and sometimes passionate debate today, and it's my duty to declare a winner, and today that's our opposer, Beth. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Adele, for that excellent summary and the decision on our winner this morning, Miss Beth Douglas. For those who know us here at Bauer, they'll know that Beth normally gets the better of William most of the time. So all that is left for me to say now is I thank you for your time and I bid you a safe journey home. And then you go for your